20 Time Management Tips to Work Less. You may notice people around you who manage to get everything on their plate done, and then some, with time to spare. How can they accomplish so much in such little time? The answer lies in time management. Time management is the way we organize and distribute our time between activities, with the result of maximizing productivity and achieving goals. Good time management leads to lower levels of stress and higher levels of job performance and life satisfaction. High achievers are not born productive. Rather, they've learned and practiced the skills needed to get more done in less time. Productivity is not a talent. It's a learned skill that every individual will need to develop. It is possible, and easy, to develop good time management skills. There are a wide variety of tips, tricks and methods out there to help you do just that. We've gathered our best 20 tips to help you make the most of your day. Time management planning. Beginning your time management journey with a plan will create a strong foundation for future habits, thereby increasing your chances of success. Tip number 1, create a time audit. First things first, start by finding out where you're actually spending your time. Often there is a discrepancy between what you think is taking up your time and what actually is. This is because humans are bad at knowing how long tasks take. Say for example you need to write a 300-word email. You may think, writing an email is simple. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. However, it's likely you're overestimating your speed and underestimating other smaller, related tasks you need to do to accomplish your end goal. Proofreading, monitoring language choice, and locating email addresses all can add to the task's time. With those additions, that 5-minute email could actually take you 20 minutes, 500% more time than you initially planned. Now say you have this same problem for multiple tasks on your plate. What was a balanced workload when you first set out is guaranteed to balloon into a stressful to-do list as the day goes on. You need to have a realistic idea of what you're able to accomplish and what is truly taking up your time. This is why it's beneficial to create a time audit. The simplest way to do a time audit is to use a time tracking application. At the end of the week, look at the reports and evaluate the time you spent working on different tasks. With this data, you can easily find areas to improve. For example, you may spend too much time sitting in unproductive meetings or doing busy work. Now with this knowledge, you're able to have an accurate picture of how you spend your time and plan accordingly. This brings us to the next tip. Tip number 2, set achievable goals and prioritize your tasks. If you've got too much to do, no amount of time management will help you accomplish it all. Now that you've created a time audit, you'll be able to see if you simply need to better manage your time or if you've got too much on your plate. If you think your goals are achievable, skip to tip 3. If you think you're trying to accomplish too much, try creating an Eisenhower matrix or using the 4Ds of time management: do, defer, delegate, and delete. Both methods help prioritize by having you put your tasks into one of 4 groups. Do, tasks that are important and urgent. Defer, tasks that are important but not urgent. Delegate, tasks that are urgent but not important. Delete, tasks that are neither urgent nor important. Using these methodologies will help you determine what tasks you should prioritize and what tasks you should schedule and plan for, delegate, or delete. Whatever your goals are, they should also be SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Tip number 3, create a daily plan or to-do list. This can be made in either the first block of your workday or the last few minutes. Use either of those chunks of time to create a daily to-do list. When you're creating your to-do list, make sure to keep it simple. Seeing a half-done list day after day can be disheartening. It's better to under-promise and over-deliver, even when it comes to personal productivity. Word your list items as if you've already completed them. Instead of submit report to project manager, write report to project manager submitted. This little trick will give you an extra boost of motivation when you go to cross the tasks off your list. Tip number 4, Plan your week on Sunday. Walking into your work week with a plan will help you focus on your top priorities. It also eases the transition from the carefree weekend mindset to a productive Monday morning work brain. Take a few minutes on Sunday to create a plan for your whole week. Increase your chances of success by breaking down your weekly goals into daily tasks. That way you'll be able to see what you need to do every day at a glance. Set yourself up for success by scheduling low-priority tasks for Fridays and other low-energy times. Remember, your energy and creativity levels fluctuate throughout the week. Complete creative and demanding tasks on Tuesday and Wednesday. Schedule meetings for Thursday, when your team's energy starts to decline. Use your Fridays and Mondays for planning and networking. Tip number 5. Complete your most important and demanding tasks first thing in the morning. For most people, the first few hours of work are the most productive. Oddly enough, you can focus more easily when your brain isn't fully awake. Booting up brains have less excess energy for daydreaming and worrying about other tasks. Use this to your advantage and take on your most mentally demanding tasks first thing after waking up. Tip number 6. Use the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, also referred to as the Pareto principle, was conceived by Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who observed that 80% of an outcome generally came from only 20% of its inputs. Take advantage of this knowledge and find out what that activities are a part of that 20%. For example, say you're an agency owner looking for clients. You spend 30 minutes a day emailing potential clients and 1 hour messaging and maintaining the business's social media account. Only one client was referred to you by social media, whereas you have 5 clients were gained through email. It's clear that you should shift your time to email outreach if you want to maximize your clients. Anyone can use the 80-20 rule to find out where to spend their time. If you're unsure of what activities are in your 20%, you should do a time audit or use a time tracking tool, as this will give a better indication what actives are having the greatest impact and taking up the most time. Tip number 7, take advantage of golden hours or biological prime time. Do you know what time of the day you do your most productive work? Knowing this will help you optimize your workload. To find your golden hours or biological prime time, break your workday into 3 to 5 time slots. Keep track of your productivity for the week using a notebook or free time tracking tool. At the end of the week, rank these time spots from most to least productive. After you've found your golden hours, you'll be able to plan out your weeks accordingly. Schedule difficult or highly involved tasks for peak productivity times. Tip number 8, use the Swiss cheese method. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by large tasks. When you don't know where to start, overwhelm can lead to procrastination or loss of focus. The Swiss cheese method, coined by Alan Lakian, argues that the best way to overcome this is to break down larger projects into either smaller tasks or time chunks. By completing a single, small task or a 15-minute time block, you'll make the project less daunting and more likely to be finished on time. Tip number 9, put a time limit on tasks. Tasks expand to fill the time they're given, or so argues Parkinson's law. If you give a task 2 hours rather than 1, the amount of work you need to do to accomplish the task will simply expand to fill the full 2 hours. Take another look at your time audit and identify tasks that took longer than you expected. Set a time constraint on those tasks. By setting constraints, you will improve your focus and work more efficiently. You will also avoid scope creep, the expansion of a project that occurs when duties are not well defined or controlled. If you still find yourself going beyond these time limits, examine your workflow and determine if you should assign more time to those tasks in the future. You can also try eliminating little time wasters like unscheduled breaks. Tip number 10, add a done list to your to-do list. No matter how well you plan, unexpected tasks will always pop up during the day. Jot them down in a separate list next to your to-dos for some extra satisfaction at the end of the day. On Sunday, revisit your accomplishments from the previous week and congratulate yourself on your successes. This review period will increase your confidence and help you create the next week's schedule. Tip number 11, be one day early. Many people believe they work best under the intense pressure of a deadline and will put off work until the day before it's due. However, for most this isn't actually the case. Projects often take more time than initially thought, making it difficult to actually complete projects on time. Set an earlier deadline for yourself and stick to it. Plan to submit your work one day ahead of schedule. Tip number 12, don't answer right away. Don't automatically answer email or Slack messages the very second they arrive. Batch process your emails and catch up on phone calls in your downtime. Close email or messaging apps to avoid interruptions when working on high-focus tasks. Tip number 13, before meetings, determine your desired results. Although necessary and important, meetings are a well-known time sink. Everyone has been in a Zoom call that went on way longer than needed. To ensure productive and timely meetings, make sure there is a clear purpose in mind before the meeting. Make an agenda and share it with meeting participants in advance. You and your team will waste less time and get back to work as sooner. Tip number 14, make the most of waiting times. It happens to everyone. We wait in lines, waiting rooms, airport terminals, train stations, etc. Use these idle times to answer emails on your phone, catch up on missed calls and messages, stretch/exercise, relax or meditate. Alternatively, you can carry a book or e-reader with you and squeeze in some reading time. Even if the book isn't directly related to work, reading helps boost concentration and improves brain connectivity. Tip number 15, minimize your open windows. Channel your attention by working at only one monitor and opening only one window. Going offline might also be an option, but let's not go that far. Tip number 16, turn your system into habits. It is necessary to form the above ideas into sustainable habits. Continuing to practice these time management tips will help foster a productivity mindset. Set a reasonable schedule you can maintain over the long term, at least a month. These behaviors will become increasingly automatic over time. A study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology found it takes more than 2 months before a new behavior becomes automatic, 66 days to be exact, so don't beat yourself up if it takes a while to form these habits. Tip number 17, let go of bad habits in the meantime. The best way to break bad habits is to start small. Break larger bad habits into smaller chunks or focus on your smaller bad habits in the beginning. Smaller changes are less likely to trigger physiological stress responses, making them easier for your body and mind to accept and repeat. Pick a habit, set a schedule and stick to it. As you follow this plan, it will become easier to shed more of your old, unproductive habits. Tip number 18, don't multitask. Multitasking has a negative impact on productivity. Research has found that those who multitask have greater difficulty averting distractions than their focusing counterparts. Additionally, multitasking can impact your cognitive ability. Pick one thing to do, set a timer and work on only that thing until either you finish or the timer goes off. This will help ensure both your focus and your quality standards. Tip number 19, don't wait for inspiration, do it now. Some artists wait for inspiration to strike, some writers wait for writer's block to subside, and some business people wait for the perfect, silent work environment to accomplish tough tasks. If you're always waiting for the right time, you won't be prepared for it when it comes. Inspiration and focus can also be gained through the attempt to work through periods of low inspiration. As artist Chuck Close said, inspiration is for amateurs, the rest of us just show up and get to work. Tip number 20, sleep well. Thinking of sacrificing some of your sleep hours to that project with a quickly approaching deadline? We would recommend against it. Scientists have found sleeping less to create more time for tasks actually has a negative impact in both the short and long run. Tired people procrastinate more and get distracted more easily. Give your brain at least 8 hours of sleep every night, even if that deadline is coming up soon. Good luck.